And here we go. So again, welcome to our Google Slides, Gmail, and Calendar workshop here on where I'm located, a beautiful sunny day on May 8th here, 2020. And we want to cover, I think we'll have time to cover all of this today. Let me go ahead and share my screen as well. And so what I've done here is I've copied the link from the chat. And again, if someone can help me out and put the link in the chat again at different times, because when people join in, they don't see everything that was in chat before they joined. So if you've been here with me for 10, 15 minutes, you might see the link in the chat several times. And the people, again, just joining will see the chat one time here. So I'm sharing my screen here. I am going to go to a different tab here. And right here, what I've done is I've copied and pasted the link from chat. So here's the link. I created a bit.ly link. It's just a shortened URL so that, you know, if for some reason someone couldn't copy and paste and they had to type it in, they didn't have to type as much in. And it is case sensitive. And then I just hit enter, and then it should go to my slide deck for today. So if you want to have access to this after today, a couple different things you can do. One, you can, right up here, it'll show a triangle here in just a second once it loads with a plus sign. I can add it, any document, whether it's a slide deck, a doc, a sheet, any file here within the G Suite apps for education, I can add it to my drive right from the document. So right here, it just says add shortcut to drive. So all I have to do is click on that, and then I can put it in my drive. Or if I want to be organized right off the, right off the bat here, I can put it in a folder. I already have it created, or I can create a new folder right here from the slide deck. So I know I'll put it in my Google Workshop folder. I can add shortcut, and voila, it is added to my Google Workshop folder in my Google Drive. If I want to, I have it set up where I have 5 or 10 seconds here to undo that if I don't want that in there. Then my triangle and plus sign goes away. And if I click on that folder, it tells me, hey, it's in the Google Workshop folder. So I can see where I've got it in my Google Drive. Another place I could always see where I've got it is if I go to my document details here. Right now, it's not showing my location, but sometimes when you look at things that you own, you can see the location as well. Another thing you can do, you can bookmark any of these slide decks, again, any app that you're working with within the G Suite apps for education. And to bookmark that is just come up here and click on the star. And when I click on the star, it turns it blue to let me know it is bookmarked. I can put it on my bookmark bar if I want, or I can put it within a folder within my bookmark bar. So again, several different ways to save this and to organize it how you would like. So if I hit done, it's not going to show up here because my bookmark bar is full. But if I click on these double arrows here, right to the right, I can see, oh, I've got another item here on my bookmark bar. I can delete these at any time. I can even take off the names. So if I bookmark my Gmail for some reason, I can right click on here. I know what this icon means. So if I go here to edit, I can delete my name of that because I know what it means and hit save. I have more room now on my bookmark bar. So then I have all of my bookmarks on my bookmark bar. So if you know what the icon means, you can delete the words. All you have to do is right click on any of these, your bookmarks up here, and you can rename it or edit it. So this one, if I just delete the name of that folder and hit save, I still have the folder there. So if I'm even putting shortcuts up here to folders, I might want to keep the names there so I know what they are, but If it's icons that I know what it is already, I can go ahead and right click and edit and delete the name there. If I want the name to come back, all I have to do is just type it. Whoops. And then when I type the name Gmail, then the name will reappear. So again, right click and edit. And again, I am recording this, so you can go back and look in case if you forget. If you're like me, sometimes when I'm learning new things, I don't remember everything. So you've got this video here to go back to as well. All right. So again, welcome. Here on slide 2, a couple things here. I've got this sign-in sheet that you can fill out for today's workshop. If for some reason you can't fill it out right now because you have full screen, you can fill it out at the end. If you can't link to it, again, let me know. I can send you an email with it, but there's a link. You can also exit full screen. So if you want to have split windows, depending on the device you're on, you can come up here and exit full screen. It might look a little bit different. Right now I'm on a Mac, so if you're on a Chromebook or a laptop, you can, I'm still thinking it's a green or yellow up here that you can manipulate to exit full screen so you can get windows side by side. Again, there's probably 3 or 4 different ways to exit full screen to get windows side by side. So again, it's up to you. Step 2, I just explained how to add this presentation slide deck to your Google Drive and or bookmark it. You will hear me reference it, the slide deck. Google Slides has picked up the name of a slide deck, just like each of these slides is like a deck of cards. So it's got the name slide deck, and I've started using that, referencing my Google Slides as a slide deck this past year. I also have a Google evaluation here for you to fill out at the end. And then also your ISB evaluation, it should come between 24 to 96 hours. With this being Friday, sometimes we don't see it show up in our email until Monday. So if you don't have it by Monday, by the end of the day, feel free to reach out to me and we'll see what happened. We have had some glitches where it has gone to people's email, or it's got hung up and it hasn't been delivered, or it's gone to your spam folder. So just let us know. We'll help you out. We want to make sure you get your PD hours to renew your license. I know some of you have to renew here by June 30th. But so once you fill out this evaluation, you'll get your evidence of completion. Then that's when you can enter it into the Ellis, your Ellis account there. One other thing on here, you know, I do call them professional development hours. They used to be called the CPDU. So I still hear people, I'm calling them CPDU. So it's the same thing. Some of you have been asking to print this file. Here's a printable PDF file that you can print if you would like a printed copy. And then today, I will, at the end, try to get the chat over here that you can access the chat as well if you would like to. And then also the workshop recording will be uploaded to YouTube either by later this afternoon or this evening. So check that out, and you can access the YouTube channel there. So a little bit about myself. My name is Lisa Schwartz, and this is my 21st year in education. I spent my first 19 years as a teacher teaching 6th through 9th grade in Quincy Public School District. I taught various subjects. A majority of the time I did teach computers and computer science, and it taught using Microsoft. The last few years, we did have Google available to us, so I wanted to learn about Google and how to incorporate that into my classroom. So the kids got to see me as a learner, and trust me, I did make plenty of mistakes learning about Google with my students, but nothing major that we couldn't go back and change. And hopefully you will become more comfortable in your journey with the G Suite apps for education. So one other thing then, so then the last 2 years here, I have been working with the Learning Technology Center in this green area here, working with 10 ROEs and the school districts within those ROEs. So glad to have you guys with us. If you haven't heard of the Learning Technology Center before, here on slide 4, this talks about it a little bit more. And then on slide 5, we have a community you can be involved in. This is where you can post questions and or comment on people's questions or messages. We also have some online learning. Feel free to check this out. I think the class is open again next week. So if you need to expand or want to learn more about different apps out there, check that out. And then our events pages. So lots for you to learn besides all of the G Suite apps for education. Our agenda for today, then how I've got this set up, I've got in the slide deck, some of you who have used some of these apps before, you may not have to listen to me all the time here, and you might want to look at some of the links I have in the slide deck. Feel free to do that. If not, I will go over Google Slides, Gmail, and Google Calendar. If I don't meet your needs on what you want covered in this workshop, feel free to stay on after. I can answer questions and get you the help you had expected from today's workshop. So real quick here on slide 6, if you see there's links here. So I'm not in presentation mode. Why is that? Usually when I'm working with you on these workshops, I go to another tab and show the application. So today I'll be showing you slides, Gmail, and Google Calendar, and I'm not just going to be talking to you from the slide deck. So I usually don't put it in presentation mode. If this was in presentation mode, you could then just click on this Google Slides and it would take me to the link. Anytime you're working on Google Slides and you're not in presentation mode and you hyperlink something, you just have to click on it twice. So click on it once and then it says, oh, I've got this hyperlinked. So then I click on Google Slides here and it takes me to this page. It's page 7. It just happens to be the next page, but I wanted to show you, you could hyperlink. So if I click on Gmail, it's going to take me to slide 15 and it takes me to the Gmail part of it. Then if I go back here, if I go to Google Calendar, it's taking me to slide 19 and voila, I've got it here on slide 19. So I can move around. So if you do have this in presentation mode and you want to click on the links, it should move you around the slide deck to that link. Now, you can, so how do you hyperlink within slide deck? All you have to do is highlight the word, the image, whatever it is, and to hyperlink it. So a couple different ways to hyperlink. You can right click on it. Whoops. I can right click on it and I can link it. I can come up here and click on insert link. I can go over here, insert link, or I do use the linking tool so much that I just use the shortcut key. So on a Chromebook or laptop, it's Control K. On a Mac, it's Command K. So right here, I can link it to any website. I can link it to other sheets or docs, other apps, other files from different apps, or I can even link it within the slide deck. And that's what I did with these 3 here. And I linked it within slides in this presentation. You can go to any slide you want. And do you notice here, and I did this on purpose, do you notice that some of these slides have the title in them and some don't? So if you know you're going to be linking within your slide deck, you will want to make sure that when you create your slides over here, that you create your slides, the layout needs to have a title in it. So do you see how this says title and body, title only, title, title? So it looks like there's 4 different ones you can choose from. And when you choose the layout that has title in it, then it will say the title on the hyperlink. So for example, if you saw my Gmail one, this didn't have the title in it. So the my layout here that I've used for slide 15 didn't have the title in it, so it's not going to show the title. So what I had to do then, when I hyperlinked this word Gmail, I had to know which slide I wanted it to go to. So I had to come over here and look, oh, I want it to slide 15. So again, whoops, since I already had that hyperlinked. So what I'm doing then here, I went to slides in the presentation, and I had to know that, oh, slide 15 is the first slide that talks about Gmail. So then I hyperlinked it to that. But as long as if I use my apply layout, and it includes the titles will show there. Okay, so it may not make sense to you right now if this isn't something that you've thought about hyperlinking within your slide deck. But I did want to talk about that. Okay, so here on slide 7, so how do I open up slides? Again, if this isn't your first workshop with me, you have realized that there's multiple ways to do the same thing within the G Suite apps for education and how to open them. Again, it does allow for differentiation, and it does realize that our brains are all wired differently, and we don't always think to do the same thing, or the same thing the same way. So here's different ways you can open up Google Slides. So I could just go to a new tab, and many of you have gotten to know that this is called the waffle. If not, some people still call it the 9 dots or whatever it may be. Then I would come down here and go to the Slides app, okay? If not, if you looked at that slide there, you can see several different ways you can do that. One thing, probably about a year ago, the other shortcuts that Google came out with, I always thought it was just slides.new, but if you see here, you can do these other shortcuts, and you can see you will get the same thing. So it saves you about 3 clicks if you do it this way. But if not, I went over to the waffle. Sometimes I might want to go to the waffle and go to slides. So right here, here's all of my slide presentations here. I've got right up here, I can start a blank one right here. And I've got a template gallery. Again, most of these apps do have templates you can look at. If you don't have the templates in your template gallery, check to see if your Google admin if there's a box that they can turn on the back end, if they allow you to have it. You can also have, for your school district, you can have some templates here that you might use frequently. So again, this could be turned off, or your district may not have anything. But if you look at this general one here, you can kind of get some ideas. It might also give your students some ideas of what they could do and how they could create what they could create within Google Slides. So sometimes you can people use Google Slides not for a slide deck or a presentation, but even for an invitation or even a photo album. So again, sometimes we may be limited in our knowledge of what some of these apps can do, and feel free to go to the template gallery to get some other ideas. So the template gallery is right here when I went to the waffle. Again, up here, I've got the main menu. Even though I am in Google Slides, I can switch over to Docs. I can go to my Drive. You can see I can go to some of these other core applications within the G Suite apps for education. I also have settings. Anytime you see the gear or the 3 dots on things, that means there's more. So here, I've got some things I can change if I want within my Google Slides application. So check that out. And then, so I said the 3 dots. Anytime you see 3 dots, that means there's more to, there's usually a menu. Sometimes it's 1 or 2 things. Sometimes it could be 4 or 5. So check that out. 3 dots and the gear. Anytime you see that, any of the application, there's more things you can manipulate. And it's good, if you are working with students, to teach the students about the gear and the 3 dots as well. Another thing here, I can search within my slides here, but I will tell you, if I know I want to open a certain slide, I usually don't go to my waffle. I go to my drive to search my slides from my drive. So usually when I go to the waffle, it's maybe to open up a new blank presentation or to go to the templates. But normally I just open everything up from drive, or I do shortcut. Again, is that a right way to do it? No, you do what works best for you and what you feel most comfortable with. Okay, here on slide 8, I'm going to go over some images. So if you looked at this first slide here, I had this image of my family, and what I did with this image, you can crop it. So if I'm not clicked on that image, watch my toolbar up here. When I click on this image, I've got different function, or different tools for my toolbar. So if I click here on this image, then I can come over here where it says crop image and where it says mask. What I can do, I can turn it into any shape. So right now I've got, was it the cloud shape? I can flip it, or not flip it, but just, turn it into shape. So like on this one here, if I wanted to put that into a shape, I can arrows, call outs, equation. So know that you have shapes there that you can manipulate pictures into shapes as well. So that one didn't, let's see. So as you can see, sorry, I'm accidentally, my mouse is very finicky here. So when I'm clicked on that picture, I also have format options. So how did I get the format options? Again, I've got to be clicked on the picture. And with the format options here, I've got size, rotation, position, recolor, adjustments. I know sometimes you like a transparency. So you want it maybe behind something. You can kind of make it transparency there if you would like. Drop shadow and reflection. So I'm going to jump back down here to slide 7. So this image right here, what I did so it wasn't the bold yellow color that it normally is, I just turned transparency on so I could have it on the slide deck here, and it's just, as you can see, transparent, that it's not so bold, and it kind of, then I can bring out other things, or I can even put words on it. So with pictures, if you wanted pictures to overlap, you can, another thing, you can position the pictures, but if you right click on the picture here too, it might be under format options as well, but I always just go to right click on the picture. I can go to bring to front, or I can take send backward. So that didn't do anything, but if I hit send to back. So if I want just part of the picture to show, I can send it to back if I want it to overlap with another picture. So if you go over here to order, you can change the order of how the picture is. Now let's say you're putting arrows on here and doing some other things. You can, so if I put an arrow on here, so with that arrow, anytime with these shapes, you can change the color, the fill. I can change the line color here. I can change the weight of it. And let's say then I want this picture with this arrow to move together. What I can do, I can click on both of them. And I can put them together. So I can group them. And then grouping them, then when I move them, they will go together as one group. I don't have to individually move them. So if I have several different pictures here, or shapes together, I can individually move them. Again, I appreciate people helping out in the chat. It's hard for me to look over there and help in the chat as I'm presenting here. So I appreciate the people stepping up and helping out, just like in a classroom, right? So again, you will have this toolbar here that you will have access to different things depending on what you're clicked on. So if you're clicked on an image, you've got some other tools up here that you can manipulate. Again, playing around with it and sometimes experimenting or watching other people. So again, if you are introducing slides to your students, introduce the basics to them. If you know more, feel free to show them, but sometimes they will, learn on their own or click different buttons, see what happens, and then you can learn from them as well. So don't panic about introducing a new app to your students that you might want them to use or try. Or if you're giving them choice in that matter, don't feel like you need to know everything about that app for them to be successful in completing that assignment, that they get choice on how they're completing. So do you see how I have my format options gone away there? How do I get those back? Just click on it, go up here to format options, and it comes back. If I want to get that off, did you see that I hit close and it took that off? Another thing you can do with the slides and with photos is you can animate them. So the animation, then you can come over here under object animation. Right now it's coming in, fading in on click. If I want it to fade in or fly out to the left or right, whatever it may be, you can have it come on in on click or after previous or with previous. So again, you've got a lot of different options. You can have it come in slow, medium, or fast. And then you can add another animation if you want this image to have more than one animation. So again, on click or after previous, it shows there what you've selected in parentheses here. So if you want to go back and change it, just click on it and you can go back in and manipulate and change it. Another thing here, slide transition. Do you see how it's got this motion right here, this image, it kind of looks like 3 coins, and that represents motion. If you come over here to the left-hand side, do you see here right underneath the word or the number 3, it's got the 3 coins. That lets me know that there is a transition I have when I'm in the presentation mode, that it switches from slide to slide using this this transition that I have here. So right now it says none. If I go here, I can put dissolve, again, slow, medium, or fast. And if I want, I can have this apply to all slides. So every time I go from slide to slide from within my presentation, it will dissolve out. But again, I would have to be in presentation mode for this to happen. So do I have to go up here to presentation mode every time to see this? I don't. I can just come down here and hit play. And when I hit play, it's just going to show me, okay, that's how it's going to come in. And then why is nothing happening right here, right now? Because I have it on click. So when I click it, it's going to fly out and then it fades back in because I put after previous. So I didn't have to click it for after previous. Then I hit stop. If I don't want it to fly out to the right on click, I just want it to do it, I can go ahead and change that so that it does it after previous or with previous. So again, feel free to play around with that to see what you like. If you are teaching students about the Google Slides, whether it's now or in the fall, sometimes I wait to talk to them about these transitions and these animations that you can have on for the images or within slides until they've done a majority of the presentation, because sometimes I've found in the past, if I show them some of these neat tricks that they can do right now, they'll spend their time playing around with that rather than doing the assignment. So again, that was just something I learned from teaching, and majority of the time I did teach with Microsoft PowerPoint. Again, if your background's with Microsoft PowerPoint, there's some, a lot of similarities and there are some differences as well. But if you've used one, it's very similar to the others. So, all right. Oh, another thing here, about these formatting options. You can put borders around things. So if I click on this image here, and I can come up here and change the border color if I want. Again, change the weight of it as well. So you can, a lot of things you can manipulate within Google Slides with images. So again, covering a lot of things today. Will you remember everything? Maybe some of you will, maybe some of you won't, but know that you can go back and, you know, see different parts of the workshop if you need to. So if I'm going to talk about a few of these items up here on the menu bar. If I go to File here, so if I'm in a slide deck and did I create a new one here? If I just go and create a new slide deck right from here, what I can do, I've got one slide here. I've got themes over here that they suggest. I can even import themes if I like. But if I need to add more slides here, I can go up here to the plus sign and just add more slides. The default slide is click to add title here. But if I want to, I can hit this down arrow and change the layout here. Earlier, and what I've been used to is I always would go to slide and apply layout and change it there. I don't have to. I can go here. I think when I first started using slides, that was the only option, was to come here to change it. I think this was added later. Again, kind of a shortcut that I can just change it there if I need to. And then just hit the plus sign. I can keep adding them. Again, I use the shortcut key sometimes and hit Control M, and Control M just will create another slide here for me. With any of these slides, I can also right click on the slide and I can cut it, copy, paste. I have all of these other options here. Again, here's yet another place I can change the layout, apply a different layout. I can put a background or a theme. Let's say I need this slide to be duplicated several times. I can duplicate slides. So I can move the slides. I can add transitions here. I can even comment on the slides as well. So if I go back here to slide 7 here, let's say I wanted slide 7 moved in my presentation. I can just click on the slide, and do you see when I click it and I start moving and dragging my mouse down, it's showing me that right now I can move that slide in between slides 9 and 10, and I move it and there it goes. And if that's where I want to keep it, I can put that there. If not, I can move it back. So I can move slides up and down in the order however I would like to. All right. Another thing here, let me go back. Excuse me for a second. I'm going to shut my office doors here. My oldest son just got up here. All right. All right. He is out there making. I don't know if you heard that, but I don't know if you heard that. Okay. I'm getting some feedback here. Oh, I think that's okay. All right. So then that was under, we talked about some things under File then. What's nice about this then, I can let's say I wanted to copy this slide and put it in another slide, I can do that. So if I wanted to copy this slide, slide 7, and I wanted to insert it in this slide, all I had to do was come over here, right click here, and paste. And it lets me copy from slide to slide. It does give me a choice here that, do I want to match the style in this presentation, keep original style, or do I even want to link this to go to the other slide deck? I could do that as well. So then there's a link up here to the slide deck that this is in. So you can do that as well. Again, if you're having kids work on the slide deck together, you can see the version history. Right now, and I don't know if I've talked about this much this week, but right now when you guys all access this slide deck, you are all anonymous to me. Google assigns you an anonymous animal. Usually you don't know what anonymous animal you are unless if you start typing on a shared slide deck that you can edit. So most of the time in the classroom, you'll know who everyone is, because when you share a document with someone else, they'll probably come up here and share it, and you'll add people or groups. So if you, like Elizabeth has been on a lot with me this week with these workshops. So if I wanted to share this with Elizabeth, if Elizabeth and I were going to do this, then when she's on here, her Google account icon right there, her picture would show up here where you guys are showing anonymous. So when within your classroom, when you're sharing things, you'll be able to know who's sharing. But the reason why you guys are all anonymous animals is because I didn't share it to your Google account. I created a bit.ly link for you to access this. And so you're all anonymous to me. But if not, if you share it directly with, you know, if your students are sharing documents with each other, they'll show up as their icon, whether it could be their picture or it might have their first or last initial in the circle. Again, you can change them to editor. If you don't want them to edit this, they could put comments on here or just to view it. And then when this, then I could put a message here for her, and then I could send it, and she'll get an email saying, Lisa Schwartz has shared this document with you, and then she will get this document and she can click on that in her email. So I wanted to just talk about the anonymous animals there. So when you do version history, if I see the version history, if this was an editable document right here, you could see everyone and their name of what they have edited. Right now it says total 5 edits, but again, if I shared this with Elizabeth and she was on right now, then, and if she edited it, it would be a different color. It assigned you a different color, and it would have her name and what she's done, and it would highlight what she did on the slide deck. So again, a great way to see, if you do have students working groups, what students doing what, and they can't, you know, in the past, some students would lie and say, oh, I did that. And you can go back here on version history to see which student did what. So that was under version history. A couple things here. Some people might want to change this back to a PowerPoint. You can download it and it can move it back as a Microsoft PowerPoint. You can download it as an image or even as a PDF file. So that's what I did here. I downloaded this as a PDF file, made it shareable so that you could then open it and print it if you wanted to print it. I could email this as an attachment. Again, here's another place I can add this to my shortcut drive. I can move it from here as well. I can publish it to the web. So I've got some other settings here. I don't know if you've seen some people create books using Google Slides. Here's another place, another tool that you can use, have the kids, if they're creating a book, especially during this time of remote learning. One of my son's assignments was to create a book for one of his classes. And so we created a slide deck. We went here to page setup, and you can change the size of it. So I'm not going to change this. I'm going to go to this link, or to this slide here that I, slide deck that I opened earlier. If I go to File and I go to Page Setup, right here, I'll click on that. The default is this widescreen 16:9 here. If not, if I go to Custom, I can change it. So if I want it to look like a book, if I wanted it like a portrait, I could go and change it 8.5 by 11 inches, and it applies it. My suggestion, if you know you're going to do, you want to change the, if you go to File and Page Setup, if you want to change the setup, change it before you get started on the slide deck, because you can see when I put this one in there, it looks a little bit different. You know, maybe I would want to put that picture, change it a little bit or whatever. It keeps the original layout. So if if I wanted to change it to 8.5 by 11 right now, I would have to go and manipulate every single slide in this slide deck to make it fit the 8.5 by 11. So that is one thing you might want to do in the beginning, to change the page setup before you get started on this slide deck. So you can customize it. As you can see, you can put whatever dimensions in there if you would like. Here's some standard ones that they've got, but you can change it to, again, whatever it fits your needs. So again, just looking at the file, edit, multiple ways to do the same thing. So I'm going to then jump down here to slide 9 and going to talk about insert. So what's nice about a slide deck here is you can insert videos and audios. If you do show YouTube videos, and before Google Classroom came about, you could put videos in slide deck. And what's nice about this is that when you play the video here, and I'm not in presentation mode, so it's kind of, I can still play it from here, but to click on it just right, that's fine. I'll go ahead and skip that. Oh, there we go. So it plays the video here for me. It can play it right from the slide deck. It's usually not that hard to click on because you're probably most of the time in the presentation mode, but since I'm just in the preview mode here, this talks about YouTube's audio library. So when it plays this, it doesn't show other ads, and it won't start playing another video or other ads at the end when it's done. If I click on this video here, do you see how I have format options up here? So before I get to this, let me show you, how do I insert this video in the first place? If I go up here to insert and I go to video, just click on video. And what I can do, I can search YouTube. If there's a certain video I know I want to put in here, I can search. If I already have the video picked out and I have the URL, I can paste it in here. Or I can even search my Google Drive for videos maybe that I've created that I want to put in here. So you have all of these options. And then, so if I search a video of Jerry Brooks, then, and say I want this video, I have to actually select it. Do you see how it gets a blue line around it, and hit select, and then it'll just insert it in there for me, okay? So if I don't want that, I can just right click on it and cut, or just hit the delete key and it takes it away. So that's how to insert a video. Now, once you have the video in there, I don't know if you saw, as soon as I inserted that video in there, I had my format options pop up over here. If it doesn't pop up, when I'm clicked on the video here, do you see it's right here? Go to format options, and I've got video playback. I have things I can, different options I can manipulate that video. So if in this video, let's say it's a 20-minute video, and I know my students aren't going to watch the full 20 minutes, or there's just certain parts of the video I want the students to watch, I can come over here and start it at a specific time and end it at a specific time. So if I know that I want them to start watching it at 10 seconds and I want them to end at 1 minute, I just manipulate that there. Do I want it to autoplay when presenting, so it just starts playing? Do I want the audio to be muted while it's playing? I have these controls here. So it's going to start at 10 seconds and end at 1 minute. I can change the position, size, and rotation, and there's even a drop shadow. So then when I go to present, let me just go back, okay? If I go to present then, here's a video here. All they have to do is click on it. And do you see right now, it started right at the 10 seconds. Why was that? Because that's where I set it up. So again, how do you set that up? Once you insert your video, you have format options. Again, don't panic when you say, oh, where's that format options? It disappeared. It's going to disappear, especially if you click on that X or you click off of the video. But when I click back on the video, whoops, when I click back on the video, go to format options and that pops back up. So even playing when I'm not even in the presentation mode, it even started at 10 seconds. So again, you can manipulate that there. I know some people use Edpuzzle, and there's different tools out there that you can control where the video starts and stops as well. So again, I'm just showing you this option that you do have this available to you in Google Slides. Also then, so believe it or not, so, you know, with my many years in the classroom, we would always insert audio into Microsoft PowerPoints. Well, audio just became a thing on and off within this past year. I think it's pushed out. Everybody has audio in their Google slide deck now. So again, how do you get audio? Go up to insert and you can insert audio here. And you do have to have it either in your drive or shared drives. So how do I get the audios there in the first place, the audio files? One that we used a lot in the classroom was called soundbible.com. Again, my kids, my students, sometimes I call my students my kids, they, you know, we tried to research where could we download some files that, you know, were copyright free that we could use in our PowerPoints back in the day. Soundbible is still a good choice. Another good choice is YouTube Audio Library. So as you can see right here, I've got two files, audio files here on this slide, slide number 9. I think one's from Soundbible and one's from YouTube. So if I go into the YouTube Audio Library, I have a link there. I don't know that, okay. It takes it to mine. I don't know when you click on it if it takes it to yours. So again, this is, if you were with us yesterday, I talked about YouTube. So it takes me to my audio library. So how do I even just get to my audio library if I'm in YouTube? So to get to YouTube, you can type in youtube.com. You could go to the waffle and go to YouTube that way. But I am in my studio portion of YouTube. So again, if you're new to YouTube, let me show you here. So if you go just to YouTube, it may take you right here. But to go to the audio library, then I have to go up to my Google account and I go to my YouTube studio. Within my YouTube studio, then under here, I've got on the very left-hand side, I have my audio library. So I click on my audio library. And right now, the music in here, it's the free music. Browse and download free music for your project. So we do have use of this. It kind of is in a controlled environment that we're not just searching out on the internet for different music to put in our slide deck that we might not have permission to use. So I've got free music here. If you click on this, I also have sound effects. So I have two different tabs here that I can get some audio clips from. One nice thing here about the free music, if I go here, I've got genre, I can change it. I've got different filters. I have mood, instrument, duration, and attribution. Again, the attribution rights for all of these that they've posted here, we do have permission to use. So if you want to look, you can filter them still by attribution not required or attribution required. And then all you would have to do, so let's say you wanted this one right here, all I would have to do is hit download. And then at the bottom of my screen, it is downloading here. And then to put that in my Google Drive, all I would have to do is go to my Google Drive. And in my Google Drive, I have a folder just with sound, our folder called Sounds. All right, going a little slow here this morning. There we go. And so what I can do, I can double click on it to open it. And I can, what's nice about this when you download things, I can drag it right here and drop it right in this folder. I don't have to do anything else but drag and drop. And when I do that, it's going to upload. It says it's going to take less than a minute left, and it's uploading the item right now in my sounds. And how did I get that folder? I just created a new folder called Sounds to put all of my sounds in. And then once it gets uploaded, then I can go back to my slide deck and I can insert sounds. So all I have to do is hit Insert Audio, and I can pull the audio from my drive. So let's say I want this one of the dog barking. Click on that, hit Select, and then it will be inserted here. So that it's this third one here. Now, with the sound, then what can I do? I can have it start playing on click or automatically. It's your choice. Now, when you're in the presentation mode, if you don't want these icons to show in the presentation mode, you can hide the icon. Right now they're showing because I'm not in the presentation mode, but the presentation mode's right here that they'll show in. I can have the audio loop or stop when I slide, when I change the slides. So again, just like with the images and with the videos, you have other format options that are just specific to the file you have inserted. So I just took a look over here on chat that people said that they are, there's some other websites out there that they use to get sound from. Yeah, there's lots of different ones out there. Again, I just tried to use within the classroom ones that we can find that we do have rights to the sounds or the music that we can put in the slide deck or PowerPoint. So again, a lot to remember here about videos, audio, and inserting them and what you can do with it. If I go down here to the audio, if I just want to hear what it's going to sound like, I can just click on it and it plays there for me without being in the presentation mode. Let's say I don't want that audio there, I can right click on it and I can delete it. So anytime you do insert something, you can delete it. Don't forget you do have the undo and redo buttons up here to help as well. And now, you know, the big thing all the time when I'm working in here, I don't have to go up and hit File, Save, or Save As. Everything is saved automatically for me in my Google Drive. So once I've created it, it just saves automatically for me. I don't have to worry about that. So I remember my first days of teaching computers that's what I would always teach the kids. Make sure you save and save often. So don't have to say that anymore. Okay, let me talk about in presentation mode. You heard me say that a lot. So again, all I have to do in presentation mode, go up here to present. I can either start the presentation right where it's at, or I can click on this arrow and present from beginning. I'm just going to present from right where I have it on this slide. Now, there are a bunch of shortcut keys out there. I don't have them all memorized, but we could go to help, and I think even right here, it might even bring me up the shortcut keys under tips. Okay, so do you see when I'm in the presentation mode, I have this extra slide or this extra toolbar here at the bottom. So again, I can advance the slides by clicking on my screen and it goes to the next one. If I'm like, oh, I accidentally clicked and I want to go back, I can maneuver it right here as well. I can have it set it up where it plays automatically. So if I need to, you know, have a automatic slideshow to just keep going through and showing whatever it may be, whether it's pictures, you can do that. Whoops. All right. As you can see, it's very finicky, and this mouse I'm using does move back and forth too much. I need to go in and maybe change the settings here. So again, another place, do you see where it says I'm on slide 10? So if I want to move around my slide deck at times, again, here's another reason it's nice to have, make sure the layout you use is called titles, so that you can see the title here if you do want to move around it. Or another reason, like for some of you going back to look at the slide deck later on, you might say, oh, I need to go back and look at what the suggestions were on the slide deck about video and audio. Then you can look at the title, and you don't have to, you can just jump right to that slide. You don't have to click on the arrow and take you through the slide deck, especially if the slide deck is, for some reason, hundreds of slides in there. You can jump around that way. So I do, I guess if you don't get anything else from this session, and if you do use slide decks a lot, have the layouts, have it, use the title layouts if you want the titles here to show here, and or if you link within the slides. Excuse me. You do also have a question and answer within slide deck. I know there's some other tools and apps out there that you can manipulate your slide deck, but some of those cost money. Some have free versions and paid versions, but right here, if I do use the Q&A feature, what this does, it creates a new tab, and will create a question and answer. So right now, you can accept questions from your participants if you want it to be more interactive. If you have a student who is maybe shy and might not want to raise their hand and ask the question out loud for everyone to hear, they can maybe even put it right here. So you can have it within your own school district, or sometimes you can change it to anyone. And then right here it says, I'm accepting questions from anyone. I've got it turned on. If I want to at any time, I can turn it off by just clicking that, and it's like a slide button there. And if I go back to my slide presentation, then right here, do you see up at the top, it says you can ask a question. And so you would have to create or type this in your in a new tab. And if anybody wants to do that now, you sure can, and we can see maybe the questions you're asking. Or if you want to just comment and say hello, so we can see how this works, you can do that. And as I'm progressing throughout my slideshow here, then this little bar will stay up there that at any time students could go to a new tab, type this in, and type in comments or questions to that. So that's the question and answer. With the question and answer, again, I can turn that off at any time and that goes away. Another thing here, you've got notes. You can open the speaker notes. I think you just saw this earlier, that if you had notes here, you could open up to show the students as well. And it opened up on a new tab. I also have a pointer. So if I click on this pointer here, it moves my mouse to a pointer. So if I want the students, especially during this time of remote learning, if you're sharing your screen and you want the students to look, to bring their attention to something, look right here at closed captioning. It turns it into a pointer. At any time, you can turn that off. Another thing that's nice is this closed captioning. So right now, I have the closed captioning at the top of my screen, and everything I say is typed out. So, this is helpful if, just with all the different types of learners out there, that they can read what I am saying instead of always needing to make sure that they are listening. With this closed captioning as well, if I click on this arrow right next to it, I can put it to the bottom. So it moves it to the bottom, everything I say. So you have choice of where it's at on your screen. And again, you can also change the text size. So what I found with this, they're constantly updating some of these tools here. So who knows, maybe the next time you come back and look at slides, they may have added another feature in closed captioning. Now, when I close out of this or stop it, my closed captioning is not saved. So if I wanted it to be saved, if I'm talking, doing maybe a screencast of something here on Google Slides, and I'm using closed captioning, then the closed captioning will be there, and that's how you save it. So I'm thinking maybe in the future, I know people have reached out to Google. Feel free, you can reach out to Google. They do listen. That, you know, if someone wants to have a recording button with it, that can be an option as well. Is it now? It's not, but I don't know. I see that coming, unless if there's something, you know, behind the scenes legality or something. I see that function hopefully getting put in there someday. Again, if you go to the tips here, here's some other shortcut keys that you can use within Google Slides. So one of the shortcut keys, so if for some reason you want your students' attention, if I just press B, it turns my screen black and the kids' attentions maybe turn on me. If I want the screen to come back, I just hit escape, it comes back. If I want it white, I can just click on the W and it turns the screen white. Again, hit escape and it comes back. So do I have all of these shortcut keys memorized? I do not, but if you want to, you can see what's here, or you could probably print them out as well. And again, all of this is
Lisa?
available. Oh yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to let you know there's a lot of questions in the chat about your question and answer section of that again. Just like, how do the students see the question? How do they answer them? Also, how did you put questions in and all that? A lot of it's about the question and answers.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Emily.
Not a problem.
And so, yeah, great questions with question and answer. I was going to come back to that. I was trying to give you guys time to hopefully go to this link. So then the question and answer, I've got accepting questions from anyone. So I don't know if anybody's posted just a question or posted hello. If I, see you later. If I, oops. I've got a stand-up desk and it is awesome. Because back in the classroom, my stand-up desk was just books that I put my laptop on. So my question and answer then, should I refresh my page? Let me just go back to it here. Has anyone, okay, here we go. So is it Corinne? So she typed in hello here. So see if you go to this link here, can you respond to what, you know, to her hello? Can you do the like or dislike button? So click on that. And then Emily, what, are people not able to go to this link?
Nobody has said anything about that. It's just mostly about, can we see how you got to question and answer again?
Okay.
Does every student see the question? How do you see the question and answer them?
Okay.
And then those kind of things.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So right here, this is how I got to the question and answer. I had to be in the presentation mode because if you saw, most of the time when I've been doing this workshop this morning, I wasn't in presentation mode. So if I go to Q&A here, then it brings me to a new tab and it shows me that someone typed in hello and then 2 people have responded they liked it. And then do you see here, we're getting more questions here. So right now on your end, we have some names, people can ask it anonymously. But she's saying, Corinne is saying it's still Corinne. So thank you, Corinne, for doing this and letting us show. She says that she's just showing us that she can ask it anonymously. So if a kid doesn't want their name to appear up here, do you have to have this shown to the whole class? You don't. You could have this, you know, see this, but on your end, you can see this as well. So Corinne, I might, if you don't mind, if you can unmute yourself and walk us through how you were able to post a question, how you changed yourself to anonymous, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I just in a second screen, I typed that Google web site thing, whatever, up at the top. And then in the same question box where I just typed, there is a little check mark box that says ask anonymously. So I just checked that option in the same spot that I had my original name, and I can check or uncheck that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
So again, she put it in a new tab. And when I was in the presentation mode, do you see it shows right here? And if I, the only way to do that is you have to type it in. But if I maybe kind of type it in, I can show you for us visual learners what Corinne just told us. So let me switch. And what I'm doing, I'm just in my personal Google account. So was it slides, app? So if I have that right, then it should bring me to the questions, what Corinne just was talking to us about. So this is what you should be able to see. Here's where you can ask a question. And so I'm asking as Lisa Schwartz. This is from my personal account, and this is what Corinne was talking about, ask anonymously. I don't know if there's a way to turn that off on the back end, because again, you know, will some kids want to be funny and maybe ask inappropriate questions? So again, I'm not for sure if there's a way. If someone wants to Google it right now and see if there's a way you can turn that off, let us know as well. And then you can go in and also put likes or dislikes as well. So yet again, another powerful tool. Again, are there some other apps that work with Google Slides that you can manipulate? Yeah, there are. One of them that's a lot of people use is called Pear Deck. Pear Deck has a free version and a paid version, but what I'm seeing, you know, Google's incorporating, you know, some functionality and some other options that we can use within Google Slides. So don't panic if you don't have the money, your school district doesn't have the money to buy some of these add-ons. There are some add-ons that are free, but there are some, of course, that have a free version and paid version. So
Lisa, we did have a question real quick. Sorry.
No, I was just going to ask you, Emily.
Okay, about whether or not you can respond besides thumbs up and thumbs down. Like, could you actually comment on their comments?
Yeah, you should be able to. I thought you could. Good question, and I thought you could, so. No, so the plus sign there. I guess maybe you can't. Maybe I'm thinking of Pear Deck. So again, try. Can anybody else try? Am I doing something wrong? So it looks like just maybe thumbs up or thumbs down. You know, I guess I could respond here by if I type in ask a question, but just do my response there. But yeah, like someone said, they like the anonymous function. Again, there's pros and cons to every tool out there. I do like the anonymous function as well, because if someone, you know, even myself, sometimes I might have a question in a workshop or in a class and I think, oh, should I know that question already? Should I not answer it or not ask it? And so if I knew I could ask it anonymously, I might be more apt to ask it. But again, it could be a place to then talk about digital citizenship and, hey, this is, you know, a place to ask appropriate questions. But if you're not for sure about the question you're asking, if you want to ask anonymously, yeah, you're exactly right, anonymous, that it could be a powerful tool. So yeah, great question, whoever asked that, Emily. I'm not seeing, I was thinking you could, but I could be thinking of another app add-on that you can use with Google Slides. So again, if anybody is Googling that, put that in chat, or feel free, someone can speak up and talk about it as well. Like many of you who are in the classroom, I am used to more interaction with my participants but in this setting right now, we're using the chat for questions, and I appreciate Emily stepping up and asking the question there about it. So then to get out of questions and answers there, I can hit exit, hit escape if I want. I have these other two options here. Again, here's the gear. So I can open speaker notes, auto advance when played. So some of you might be going back to the slide deck to look at it, or the video later on, whether it's tonight or a month from now, a year from now. You can speed it up if you would like. Or, you know, you can just advance it like, oh, I know maybe around 10 minutes she talked about the audio video. I want to go back to that. Again, you've got some other options here as well. So take a look at it, play around with it. And I'm going to go ahead and exit. When I exit out of this, the question and answer goes away, or even when I exit out of the Q&A, that goes away. I don't think there's a functionality of, you know, saving what was there. Oh, you know what? Excuse me, I take that back. If I go back to it, there is. I can go back. If I go back to my Q&A, I can go to continue recent one I had or start a new one. So if I hit continue recent, I can go back to it and hit continue, and then the questions, everything's there. Okay. So it just doesn't show on my screen, but when I click out of it, I can go to Q&A and click out of it, or just exit right here and then exit right here. So a lot on Google Slides here. I did put in on slide 11, again, to challenge some of you who might be taking the Google Level 1 certification test here soon. If you click on this link, hopefully this link, you should be able to edit this. This should be an editable document. Yeah, it is perfect. So looks like Kayla's already went and added things here, put a YouTube video. So normally in workshops that are a lot smaller and in person, but you can see in this day and age, we're learning how to do things remotely, and we could still share. So again, you guys are all anonymous here. And do you see, like here on slide 3, 2 people, 3 people are there? How do you know which one to start working on? Work on one that there's no other animal on. So like slide 6, no one's on. I could start typing in where it says name. I can highlight that, put my name. I can insert a selfie. Again, go up to insert image. And I don't think I've gone over this. So when I insert images, I have all these places I can insert images from, or I can go to my camera and insert my image by taking a selfie right there. So this was a template I created just so that people would know if they're new to slides of what to put in here. Does it have to look exactly like mine? No, but just know when you're working with students that sometimes to have a template in the beginning just for them to get comfortable with it, but then later on they could add it and change things to however they would like. But you know, they could just come over here and delete this. So Bob, you're fine by typing here on slide 6. Thank you for typing here. So when Bob's ready, he could delete the word, this text box selfie, by just highlighting it and hitting delete, or right clicking on it and cutting it. And then he could just come up here and insert the selfie. And then right here, YouTube, again, what I said, delete the YouTube image and insert your favorite funny YouTube video in its spot. I just kind of put placeholders in there. But could they change things? You know, I could change where the text boxes are by just grabbing them. So I could change the layout too if I wanted to. You could do a bunch of things, but when everyone's editing this at once, could someone, again, go in and put in a picture on Bob's? Could someone go in and type something on Bob's slide? You can, but again, when you are sharing this with accounts, so Bob, don't delete what you're you're okay with using this slide. If you're here, I don't know if maybe it looks like here on Bob's, there's maybe another person here. So know that if you see a different animal here, or if you see an animal here, go to a different slide. So in the classroom, how would this work better in a smaller group is that, maybe everyone has a number in the classroom, or you assign a number if they don't normally have a number assigned to them. So again, this is a way to challenge you to see if you know how to do these things. If you don't, let me know. We can walk you through some of this at the end as well to help you out to learn. But this is, the best way to kind of jump in and see what you know and what you don't. So feel free to type on this. And I don't know if that's Bob who's deleting that, but no, Bob, go back and you can keep that on there. So Bob's letting us know that it is him. But again, if I had shared this with your accounts, I would know who's typing on here. And you would know, if I go to File Version History, I would know who's doing what. So if someone was here on Bob's, if someone else was on Bob's slide deck or slide here on slide 6, we could say, okay, Amy, we know that you put in this funny, picture that on Bob's slide, and kind of be a teachable moment to teach him about digital citizenship. And, majority of the time when we do manipulate our work, it tracks us. So, Big Brother, some kids know, it might be called something else, but I think MTV back in the day had a show called Big Brother. They still may, or a different version that, they had video cameras on them. Big Brother always knows what you're doing. So same thing with technology. There's usually a way to figure out who's doing what. But if they're anonymous and you shared it, through a bit.ly link, it won't be. But here we saw Bob. Bob, you're the anonymous giraffe. So here, when you are doing this, we can see, so like slide 7, Roger is the anonymous kangaroo. So this is how you can find out which animal you are. Someone else might just have to tell you based off of you typing. So it looks like Ginger is the anonymous chameleon. So Google the anonymous animals. I know sometimes Google comes out with different anonymous animals out there. I don't know how many there are, but as you can see today with over 100 participants, there are over 100 anonymous animals out there. So feel free during this workshop, go back in and add things here so you can play around with it. And then, yeah, this is another way, even though we're spread out throughout the United States here. I know we've got some people joining us outside of Illinois today that we can see where everybody's from or what you do. So I see Ginger, Project Lead the Way. Awesome. I did teach that for a few years, the computer science strand. So interesting to see which strand of the PLTW that you teach as well. So I did spend a little bit extra time on slides. So as you can see, there's still so much more here. If you look on slides 12 and 13, here's add-ons. We've talked about add-ons in some of our other workshops. If you're not familiar with add-ons, basically add-ons are people or some companies have created other things to manipulate your Google Slides. So how do you get add-ons? If you go to get add-ons and search for different things, a few of them that I looked at was this photos to slides, especially right now. My oldest son is a senior in high school, and so graduation is going to look a lot different this year. So what they can do is insert photos from Google Photo Album. Each photo gets on a new slide. So again, with this, there's a free and paid subscription. With this add-on /images, again, I think all I found was the free version, but there's some out there, as you can see, a free and paid version, but try it out. Try the free version, see if you can do what you want just with the free version. There's no hurt in trying to look at that. Some districts may not allow you to do the add-ons, so try it from your personal account, and then your district would probably have to look at the district policy and what kind of information some of these add-ons are gathering, whether you could use it with your education account or not. Slide 14 here talks about slides, some lesson ideas. So choose your own adventure stories. Again, how do you do that? Using the hyperlink within the slide deck. There's some examples out there. I can, if that's something that you're interested in, I can share those with you. I guess I didn't share it here. You could even create comic strips. Oh, a Jeopardy game. Here's a sample template. Again, don't feel like you have to create all of this stuff, because I know with me, even with this job, I don't have all this time to create these things. So there's lots of resources out there that are free. Before you go to Teachers Pay Teachers and buy things off of there, unless if you just have, you know, an endless supply of money and you can, then go for it. I'm jealous. There are lots of examples out there that people are willing to share. Just make sure if you use their template and you share with other teachers, that you're letting them know, hey, created this Jeopardy game, but I used this sample template from Eric Kurtz or whoever it came from, just to give credit to where credit's due, but they're more than willing to share these things out there with us. I think it's Teachers Give Teachers is a website, and I can look back at and try to find some other websites that I've shared throughout the workshops this last month that you can get. And the reason behind this is Google has created an environment that people can become Google innovators. So what I'm Google trainer, and what a Google trainer, then what I had to do was pass my level 1 and level 2 certification exams, and then I had to apply to the trainer program and take an exam and take several steps. The next thing I could do is become an innovator, and again, that's more select. They only select like 30 people in a session, and they only do this maybe 4 times a year. So 120 people get in maybe in a year's time, and they have to come up with an innovation project. And with this, that's when they created lots of materials, some of these innovators, that we can all use out there. So that's a huge plus for us. And hopefully you're not stressing out there about thinking, oh, I love these ideas, but when am I going to find time to create these resources? And you don't have to find the time. There's some out there, and sometimes even have your kids create things to help you. Again, it depends on the age you're teaching. I taught middle school, but even if you teach elementary school, do you have some of the kids that are older now and maybe you still talk to? Could they come back and create some things like, oh, I want this slide template created. Could you create an example? Kids were always willing to help out in any way they could. They've got time. Again, it just depends on the child, but hopefully these lesson ideas will give you some ideas of how you could use slides in the classroom as well. So Emily, I'm gonna, did you see any other questions on slides that I should cover?
There were just a few more. A couple people were wondering about add-ons. If we get the add-ons, can the students access it even if they don't have access to the add-ons themselves?
No, they won't. The kids will have to have add-ons on their computer. So great question, whoever asked that. The add-ons will these add-ons I have here are only to my education account. So if I wanted these add-ons on my personal account, if I go over here to my personal account, I would have to go and do add-ons here. Let's see. I guess I closed out of that slide deck, but the add-ons for that, I guess I'll go to Drive. So my add-ons will look different of what I have in my personal account than my Google account. If I want the same add-ons in both, I have to go and add them onto each account, if that makes sense. So great question. So with
and then it looks like Stacy found, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Stacy found what?
That you cannot take anonymous off.
Okay. Thank you, Stacy.
And then Andrea was wondering if you could talk a little bit about comments and how they can use that when they share their presentation, like making comments on the presentation.
Okay. So yeah, if the students, if you allow the students to make comments, what the comments, it's similar to in docs that they could, the comments don't affect the slide deck. If I go up here, insert comment, the comments just come over here to the right-hand side. I think I have it turned off on this. I could have turned it on, but on here, so if, again, if the students are working together on an assignment, you could assign something specifically to them on this slide deck, and it just comes over here, and I'll say, maybe, can you add more examples? Since Elizabeth's not with us today, I don't want it to go to her email. She's off today, so let me, if I just put in my personal email, so then the comment's going to go to me, assigned to Lisa Schwartz. This is my personal account. And then can you add more examples, and hit assign. So I haven't shared this with my personal account, but it brings up, hey, you want to share it with her? Yeah. And I gave her commenting rights and hit comment. So then what I can do, then it goes to my email on my personal account. And then what I should be able to get then, I should get a message saying that there's been a comment assigned to me. And so I guess this is a great lead into Gmail here. And of course it's taking longer. I hit refresh to see if that helps out. No. What I found, sometimes when you share a document and assign a comment to them, it could take 10 to 15 minutes to show up in my email. And then I'll be able to go and look at this. I can comment back to this. I can resolve it, or I can mark it as done. So anytime on comments, whether it's in slide deck or docs, if you click up here, this marks it as done. And sometimes kids will use these comment places to chat back and forth with each other. And then, you know, when you're in the classroom and you're walking by them, they resolve it so you can't see it. Well, you could come up here to the open comment history and click on that. And you can see all of the comments that they put here. You can even reopen it if you want. So then when you reopen it, it's right here, but it shows who marked it as done, who reopened it, and what time and everything. So another powerful tool that you can have here in Google Slides and comments. So yeah, great question. Emily, anything else, or do I move on to Gmail?
I think we're good. Somebody asked, are you allowed to make a copy of your slide deck? Or are we just saving it, right? Correct?
Yeah, you're just adding it to your drive, and then you are, so the reason I did that was just to show you another way you can manipulate the slides. You have it, you'll always have it as long as you bookmarked it or saved it, or you can always go to the YouTube channel where the recording is and get the bit.ly link off of there as well, in case if for some reason you didn't add it to your drive or you didn't bookmark it. And then I also put in here on slide 2 where, you know, after this, the presentation, people had asked, oh, they wanted a printable PDF file. So here's yet another way you can do that. Then some people have asked they wanted chat. So I've been trying to hyperlink the chat in there too. Then we've recorded. So as you can see, over the past month and a half of us doing remote learning, we've kind of changed our ways and based off of what your needs were. So I'm glad people are letting us know what else you need out there. Again, we're here to help you. And we've changed and grown as well. And just the same thing of what we do in the classroom, that we change year to year, or if you teach quarterly or semester classes, you change every quarter or semester, and hopefully for the better. So yeah, great questions. All right, so one other thing here on slides, if you see here on slide 14, if you could do comments, then you could see, oh, there's one comment here on slide 14. If I had more, it would have more numbers, but it kind of has the comment icon there. So here in Gmail, I've got, what, about 30 minutes left. So I'm going to cover Gmail and calendar. And again, if I haven't met your needs for this workshop, feel free, and if you have time, feel free to stay on, and I can answer more questions and or go over more things with some of these apps that we're covering today. It's just like in the classroom, if you teach the same, you know, if middle school or high school, you teach 2 or 3 classes of the same material, that 1 hour might get farther than another hour. It depends on questions that were being asked or the conversations within that class. So I'm going to show you, go to my email here, and as you can see, I've gotten some emails throughout the day and even last night, and you can look up here, right here, I have 2,053 emails in my inbox. I try to like to keep it that below 2,000. The last month or so, it's been hard, and I've been trying to answer all of the emails I get. If I haven't answered your email, please either email me again or let me know. I've been trying to answer them within 48 hours. I did finally check my spam email. I usually don't. I had a participant's email go there. I've had another teacher's email not even come to my inbox. So again, if you haven't heard from me within 48 hours, feel free, email me back. You're not bothering me. Would like to help in whatever way I can. So as you can see, I've got, my email might look different than yours. We've got chat turned on, so I can see my chat right here as well, besides on a tab up here. I've got primary. I've got my email where I've got social, promotions, and forums. So I can kind of clean up my inbox a little bit. So with my promotions, you can see I rarely go to my promotions. You know, here's the new promotions I've gotten since yesterday. I've gotten a couple today, but you know, for some reason, if I have time, I'll go here to look to see maybe what Pear Deck has to talk about. And there, my chat just came up there because I have it turned on. I can turn that off, but it comes up here in my email when it's turned on. And that, again, you can set that notification to be different as well. So what Google has done on the back end is they've created an algorithm to create these different inboxes for you. So hopefully, again, it's supposed to make your life easier. Now, some of you might be cringing out there looking at my email because that is just overwhelming. I've worked with many of you out there that you only like to keep 10 emails or 1 email in your inbox and you get rid of the rest of them. That is perfectly fine. Is mine fine? It is, but just know, I know it may cause some of you stress and anxiety out there, but that's what's so great about technology is that it meets us where we're all at, and we're all at different places. So you might ask, well, how do I stay organized with this? I've got my own organization way, just like many of you do too, but whether it's you and other educators or your students, their email could be a hot mess, just like their Google Drive could be a hot mess. That is perfectly fine these days, as long as they know and understand their organization within it. Because if you come up here to search mail, I can type, you know, if I want to search any emails from specific people, I can put that there. Or if I click on this down arrow, this lets me filter my email. So if I know who it's from, I can put in their email here, or who I've sent an email to, or a certain subject, or has words or doesn't have. Same thing, I can filter date within, or the size of the email, or has attachments. All of these things I can manipulate. So if I want to see, all of the emails from Frank here. So what I can do, if I just want to see all the emails from Frank, I can create a filter and it will show me all of the emails from him. Now, I've only received one email from him, but what I can do, if I get several emails from him, what I could do, I could skip the inbox. I can apply a label. So what this would do would put all of his emails in a label. So if I know he is, if he's from the Apple company, or I can create my labels however I would like to. And I could put them in a previous label I've already created, or I can create a new one. So I'll just put him under ROE1. And then it says also apply filter to one matching conversation. So again, if we had emailed back and forth 10 times or whatever, I could have everything there. And then I could create filter. But if you see the other options here, I could have it automatically send him a template if I want to. Never send it to spam. I could automatically forward it. I was gone one evening and I had to help my son fill out the ACT form. It was 10:30 at night. He wasn't awake then. So what I did was I used my email address. So anytime I got emails from the ACT, then I would have it automatically forward to his email address. So there's all of these options here. But with this one, let's say with the Frank's email here, I'll have it skip the inbox. Do you have to have it skip the inbox? I don't have to. I can apply the label and then apply everything I've received from him. So then I create filter. So then what it's going to do, every time I get an email from Frank, instead of going to my inbox, because I had it skip my inbox, I created these labels over here, kind of like folders. And then I know that I put them in the ROE1 folder. So I go to the ROE1 folder and there's that email. So in the beginning, when I created these labels, I didn't have them skip my inbox, but this is one way for me to become more organized, and I just know to look over here. So if you see some of these labels over here, I've got tons of emails. It just takes it out of my inbox and it just organizes it. So I get the New York Times here. As you can see, I rarely go there to look at the New York Times, but it's there. It says I have 141 that I haven't opened. Again, if that bothers you, you can go and delete it, clear it out. But I just know the folders over here to look at throughout the day to see if I got emails from them. So if it's usually emails that I get from some of the same people, I just like to organize it on the front end. Do you have to? No. When I first started to do this, I didn't like it because I kept forgetting to look over here. Now I know to look over here every day and different times throughout the day based off of that. Again, it's what you get used to. So to change, I helped a teacher the other day change her inbox so she didn't get all of these promotions coming to her inbox. A couple different ways to do this. If you come here to this icon right here, it's the toggle split pane mode, and you click on this. Oh, it's not that one. Okay, so maybe it's only under settings. There's a couple different ways to go about doing it. So if I go to settings, yeah, here we go. Under settings, configure inbox. I can go into settings to do it, or it's right here. And here's what I've done. I have a primary tab. And again, on the back end, for Google, it has an algorithm. If you see that some emails are going to primary and they're promotions or social, you can change them yourself as well. But I've got it set up social promotions forms. I could have it set up where it does updates. So updates from Screencastify, I could put in there as well. But here's just some on the back end, the algorithm that Google's created. And then I even have include starred emails in my primary. So as you can see, some of my emails have the star by them and save. At any time, I can go and manipulate this and change it, and I'll still have all of the emails. It'll just, if I take promotions off of here, all of those emails will go in my primary. Again, people have it set up differently, and there's no one way that's better than the other. It just depends on what meets your needs. So again, let's go back to the gear and let's go to settings. Under settings, here's where you can manipulate many things within your Gmail. Again, this would be if you're working with students and you want them to use email, it would be worth your time to talk to them about their Gmail settings. This is the reason I put Gmail and calendar here with Google Slides, is because sometimes I want to do a whole workshop. I could probably do an hour or 2 hours just on Gmail and calendar. But a lot of people think, well, I already know Gmail. I don't need a Gmail workshop. So again, I put this in with today's workshop on Google Slides. And, you know, if we need more time, I can go over your questions or show you some more things. But here under the General tab, so I'm in Settings. How did I get there? I went to the gear and went to Settings. I have a bunch of different tabs up here. Again, this can be overwhelming. The main tab that I'm going to concentrate on right now is the General tab. So sometimes in the classroom, I would say, oh, the students would say, oh, Mrs. Schwartz, my Gmail's in Japanese. And I'm like, oh, interesting. So with some of those kids, you know, they like to be funny and show different things. When they would do that, then I would give them the opportunity to teach the rest of the class some of those things that they've learned, because then, you know, some of their tricks, or they think that are tricks, the other kids know, so it's not fun anymore for them. Then they come up with other tricks, and then I give them a chance to share with the class. But here's where they would change this. They would change the language here. And again, I would have kids all the time do that. And I would then give them the opportunity, oh, that's neat, and, you know, pretend like I didn't know how they did that. And I say, oh, why don't you show the other students how you did that? So under settings here, this is where they change the language. Here's the phone numbers, maximum page size. Right now I have 50 conversations per page. Some people only like to see 10. So you have an option between 10 to 100. Have you ever sent an email and thought, oh my, why did I send that? There is an undo send. The default, I think, is 5 seconds. If you go here, you can change it to up to 30 seconds to undo that. So when you compose an email and you send it, and then you think, oh, why did I do that? I need to add something or change, or you just saw a spelling error or something there last minute. In the bottom left-hand corner, you get a pop-up box where you can hit undo send. I put mine to 30 seconds. Again, you can change that to 5 seconds, 10 or 20. Right here, you know, in settings, I'm not going to go through everything, but if you want it to look a little bit different, take a look to see if it's here. Do you ever get emails and it goes out to a bunch of people, and then people respond and reply all? You can set the default to only reply to the sender, or you can manipulate that on the email as well. But if you want the default, if you're a person who's accidentally replied all to everyone, again, that's here in the settings. You can change, but you can also change that on the email too. But again, if you want the default reply behavior to just be reply, hit reply, but just know that you can manipulate that on the email in itself. So are you ever typing and Google finishes your sentence for you? So here's where you can control that and turn that on or off. You've got the Smart Compose that you can turn on and off. You've got the Smart Reply you can turn on and off as well. So my suggestion, when you have some time, go through, click on these maybe one at a time to see how it manipulates your email. And then if you like it, keep it. If you don't, turn it off. You might have nudges where later on you might say, hey, you sent an email 5 days ago with a question in it. You haven't got a response. Do you want to send it again? What do you want to do with it? Right here, this is nudges. If you don't like nudges, you can turn those off here. Conversation view. So you can turn this on or off. Do you remember, I think I had a little over 2,000 emails in my inbox with my conversation view on. If I turn that off, then each email I have from a person, and if we've replied back and forth, it goes as a separate email. So you have the choice of turning that on and off. And I'll show you what I mean by that here in a second. I'll keep it on. Another thing here you've got is stars. So, you know, I frequently just star some of my emails. You have some other options here. And to get these other options up there, all you have to do is just drag them up. Do I want them in use or do I not? And so you've got the, it's called the red bang, yellow bang, the green star, a purple question, or info. So you can manipulate which icon you use. So I can put them all up there or have less up there. Have you ever had someone have a signature on there so you don't have to type it every time? So you can by putting it like that. Just right here, editing your signature, putting in there what you would like. Do you ever get people, you know, you send an email and you get an automatic email back? That's called the vacation responder. Whether you're on vacation or not, you could have it set up to send an email right away. As you get it, you can put the first date, last day, put a message here, and it can put a subject. You can set it up that it only responds to people that's in your contacts or people that are just within your organization. So again, this is in settings. How did I get to settings? Go up here to the gear and go to settings, and you can see this general tab here to change it. So if I go back to my inbox and I go up here to compose, then you can see I've got some other options here. So here's my signature. I can, you know, put in someone's email. I can carbon copy them so that someone else will get a copy of this. I can even blind carbon copy people so people can't see who I am emailing this all to, in case if you're not supposed to share other people's emails. I've got some options down here. One thing with send, let's say some of you wake up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and you answer emails. You don't want the email to go to them right then. If you know your boss looks at emails at 7:30 every day or whatever time, you can schedule an email to send out whenever you'd like by just clicking schedule send. Right now it's not going because I didn't put someone up here. I can also insert or attach files. And then do you see the 3 dots right here? I've got more options here. So take a look at that, see what your options are. There's templates that you can create if it's an email that you're saying all the time. So right now, people have been asking, what's my YouTube channel? So I created this template that all I have to do is insert the template so then people can access the YouTube channel to get the recordings from the workshops. So lots of different things you can do here. If you look right here, from Camille, it looks like I'm behind. I received this 3 days ago, and it's asking me, do I want to reply? So Camille, if you're on today, my apologies. I did start. I need to get that answered. Same thing with nudges. So let me try to, I was going to pull up an email here. So I don't know if this email will, no, that email won't show it either. But here within the emails, then I can decide I can archive it if I want, or I can delete it if I don't need it. I can mark it as read. I can snooze it so that it reminds me later to take a look at it. have you ever asked yourself, when you archive your email, where does it go? So if you archive your email, if you scroll all the way down here and go to more, this is where my spam is. So I need to check out spam here as well. But do you see where it says all mail? If I click on all mail, this is where, so this is all of my mail. I have over 9,000 emails in here. And they're new, they're old. If I archive my email, it goes into my all mail. So anytime then, can I still search it? I can, but I just didn't delete it. So if for some reason I don't want to delete it, but I want to archive it, it goes to my all mail. So I know that's been a question that's asked before. But if I want to go to my starred, I can go to my starred and see what I have all starred as well. So again, Gmail is supposed to help, hopefully help you a little bit more in life, be more organized, or even if you're not organized, hopefully you can set it up in a way that makes sense to you and not miss those emails that you get from students, parents, or your boss. So hopefully this has helped with email. There's a lot more we could cover. Again, I could have, did a Gmail class probably for an hour or two, but if you're new to Gmail, go take a look at it when you have time. Go to your settings, or go to the gear and go to your settings to see how you can manipulate that. I don't know if you saw on my personal email, I kind of had a theme and pictures. Again, that might bother some people. You can change that, and I can show you how to change that. As I'm looking here, as you can see, I think right before I started talking about Gmail, I got an email here, or I sent an email about a comment on my Google slide. And I don't know why these markings come up at different times. Okay, it's gone, so thank you. But here's that email of that comment that was on my Google slide that I was assigned a task to do. So this is yet another way, anytime you're in a staff meeting or a PLC meeting that teachers say, oh, I'll do this, I'll do that. Well, if you assign it to them by making comments on the slide deck or the document, then they'll get an email, and then that'll hopefully remind them to go back in and add or do whatever they said they would do during that meeting. But to change your theme, all you have to do is come up here to your gear and go to setting, or under settings is the word themes. So again, this is where you can pick a theme, you can upload your own photos and put that theme, put that photo in here as well. You can see, you can manipulate a few different things here. So scroll down and you can manipulate it to how you would like your page to look. Again, if that's too busy, if you look at my work account, I've just left it alone and I haven't added a theme. So that gear is a magical thing where you can manipulate and change things. Another thing under settings, here's if there's add-ons you want to add for your Gmail. One add-on I had a while ago, probably a couple years ago, was the add-on, the schedule send. Gmail took notice, and so they incorporated that within the app now, so you don't have to have that add-on. So lots more things here where you can manipulate. If you have created labels here, if you go to your filters, you can delete those labels if you don't like them. You can edit them here as well. So a lot on Gmail, but hopefully that will get you started and you haven't became overwhelmed of what I showed you here in Gmail. Okay, so we've got about 4 minutes left. Again, I want to respect people's time, but I'm going to talk about calendar here. So here on slide 19 with calendar, excuse me, on calendar, so I'm at my calendar. Again, I pinned some of the I pin some of my documents that I work on during the day. Calendar is one that I refer to a lot. And within Calendar, I've got, if I go up here to create, this is how I can create an event. It gives me a snippet here. If I know I'm going to be out of the office, I can even put that in there, or I can do appointment slots. I've got the time, guest, location, and it's using my work calendar here. Sometimes if I hit more options, I get the same thing, but I get it on a bigger screen, and I have more options that I can put this in. So if I know that I'm having a meeting with one of you, I can put meeting, I can put our names. If it's a Zoom meeting, I can, right here, I can manipulate and turn it into a Zoom meeting. If I'm meeting with a parent or a student, I can, Google Meet should be incorporated in on yours if your district has turned it on and it allows you to use it. You can turn it into a Google Meet right here, and it adds the link right here for you. You don't have to go and create it. I've turned on notifications here so that I get notified, they'll get notified 10 minutes before the meeting's supposed to start. If I need to add a location, I can. I can also insert and add an attachment here so that they can look at from the calendar invite. I can add guest. So if I want to, I'll just use my personal account. And if you see right here, anytime you see an asterisk, that means I can't see that person's calendar. Sometimes within your own school district, you might be able to see other people's calendar, but then it also tells me calendar cannot be shown. Do I want this person to modify the event? I can turn that on or off. If I turn that off, then do I want to give them permission that they could invite others? Again, I can turn that on or off, or see the guest list. If I allow them to see the guest list, they can see who all has been invited to this event. If I change the time and the date here, so if it's not on May 1st, which it wouldn't be because we're past May 1st, I can change it to May 15th by just clicking this, change the time here. If it repeats, I can have it repeat daily, weekly, or even I can do a custom. So where it repeats every so often, either by week, day, month, or year. Repeat on what days of the week. And I've got options never, on, or after. So when it ends. So again, that was under does it repeat. So I don't know if you've gotten used to where anytime you see a drop down arrow next to it, click on that and then you have some other options. This might also be turned on some of yours where you can find a time. Again, if the calendar is shared with you, you could find a time by clicking on that. If you don't have that, again, that option might be disabled. So I've got this event here. Then when I hit save, it's going to say, do I want to send an invite to the Google Calendar guest? And I'll hit send. If I even go back and edit this, and so I put the 11 a.m. meeting here. If I go back and edit this and add somebody new to this, then what it does, and then I hit save, it's going to say, would you like to send the emails to the new calendar guest? It won't send another email to whoever. So I'll just hit dismiss right now. I'll just go ahead and remove. So if I don't want that person on there anymore, I can just remove them just by clicking the X, or then you can see I can hover over that and I can mark optional as well. So just know that everything you do within Google, you basically can go back in and manipulate and change. So I can click out of that, go back to my calendar. So I have a month view right now, but if I go up here to the right of the gear, I can change that to whatever view I'd like. Again, everyone's different. You do what works for you. Again, I've got the gear. I can manipulate settings, manipulate the way it looks. So you've got that option. I apologize, I am going over here. I do realize some people might have to go. Let me, and if you have to go, you are free to leave when you need to. There's a few more workshops that we know we've got next week that you can take a look at. And then also, again, some of you are doing the level 1 certification from this week. So if you would like to get a voucher to take your level 1 exam, fill out this form here on slide 23. And then here's the other link for the Google evaluation. So I do realize for those of you who have to leave us, that's fine. I hope you got something out of today, and feel free to let us know how we can help by dropping it in the Google evaluation or send us an email. I am going to continue back here and talk more about calendar for those of you who want to learn about calendar. Again, I know your time's precious. If you have to go, know that this will be on the recording that you can access later as well. A couple other things over here.
There are some questions. Sorry, there are some questions.
Okay.
I didn't know if you wanted to touch on those real quick.
For calendar or Gmail?
For both.
Okay.
There were a couple, not very many in Gmail, but in calendar there was.
Yeah. If you want to ask calendar, and then I'll circle back to Gmail.
Okay. Some people are wondering about syncing calendars with students. Some people say that you can sync to calendars, but are not quite sure how to do that.
Okay.
Just so that they could see their students' calendars. And then another one was about how did you get the Google Meet link to appear on a mobile device in calendars? So
Okay.
Melinda was just wondering, how do you get that? So.
Okay. Let me write that down. I will tell you with the mobile device, how do you get that to appear? See if it appears on when you log into it on your computer. But you know, I usually don't go and use my mobile device to access my calendar to create a Google Meet. So I might have to look into that question, unless if someone else knows that answer. So syncing calendars. So let me cover some things here on the left-hand side and see if this helps. So with my calendars here, here's all of my calendars I have. Anytime I create a Google Classroom, my Google Classroom on the back end creates a calendar. So with my Google Classroom differentiation workshop, it's in purple. I can see when assignments are due or when there's quizzes. If I want to turn that off, I can just click on that and it goes off. So if I have too much on my screen at one time, I can come over here and turn on calendars, turn off calendars at any time. If I go down here to my other calendars, so if I click on this arrow here, that just puts all of the calendars there, or it shrinks the list of my calendars. If I come over here to other calendars, I click on that down arrow, I can see other people's calendars here that I've gotten permission to see. I can also hit this plus sign here, and I can subscribe to other calendars. I can create new calendars from here, browse resources from URL or import, or even browse calendars of interest. So for the people who are from Illinois, and depending what part of Illinois you're from, you may follow a different baseball team if you're a sports enthusiast. So let's say, you know, where I'm located is in the west central part of Illinois. So we are just a couple hours away from St. Louis. So when the Cardinals, when the Major League Baseball is playing, you know, we do follow the St. Louis Cardinals. So if I wanted to, I could come to these Major League Baseball calendars and click on it, and I can see all of these calendars if I want. Would it be overwhelming if I turned all of these on and put them on my calendar? It would be. So I'm just going to look at the St. Louis Cardinals one. Right here it's showing me, I could do a preview, but if I click right there, it says my calendar's added. So if I go back to my calendar, you can see on my calendar here all of the times the Cardinals should have been playing right now here. So tonight, if the Cardinals were playing, they would have been at the Phillies at 6:05 p.m. tonight. So again, if I'm not a Cardinals fan, I might be a Chicago Cubs fan. Again, where do I go? Go to the other calendars, this plus sign, and go to browse calendars of interest. When I click on that, then I went to baseball. As you can see here, several different holidays, different sports, and even phases of the moon. But When we're back in the classroom, we can always tell when it's a full moon. We don't need a calendar telling us that. We can tell by how our students act sometimes during the full moons. But if I go back to baseball and I go back to the St. Louis Cardinals one, if I want to turn that off, I just turn that off there. So again, being from Illinois, I know we've got some Chicago Cub fans on here, or White Sox, so you can click on that. So then that shows all of the Chicago Cubs games that they should have been playing right now. And this was all under this plus sign and other calendars. I can look at browse resources, see what else is out there. Nothing comes up here on my screen, but depending on the back end of yours, you might have some other resources there. So if you go back here to this plus sign under other calendars, you can import a calendar from a URL. You can import it here, select the file from your computer and add it to the calendar as well. And you can choose which calendar to add it to. So you do have other ways to put other calendars. You can, even when you add other calendars, you can come here and turn them on and off so that they're not always on your calendar and making it look really busy. Subscribe to a new calendar. So right here, if you have permission, so if I put in Erin's address here, it says that she does not have a Google Calendar account, so I can't ask to subscribe to it. They have to have a Google Calendar account. If I look under settings here, some of the very similar ones that you saw going by just clicking on other. Create a new calendar right here as well. So you were asking how, I think someone asked about how to sync calendars. So again, by adding the calendars right here, this is how you could do that. Again, your school district might have to do it on the back end as far as allowing you permission of what calendars you can have access to. Like with these calendars here, some of the calendars in the beginning I could see, some of them I couldn't, and it was on the back end that someone had to change so that I had permission to see. So here's the calendar settings for Joe's calendar. So right now, there's certain people within the LTC that can see it. It's not just out there for everyone. But if you click on the calendar, here's where you can unsubscribe or see some other options. So with the students, how, Emily, I think you asked, someone said something about syncing students. Again, I think it's going to depend on each school district and how they've got it set up on the back end. Emily, were there other questions about calendar?
Not questions, but well, let's see. A lot about, sorry, my youngest is being very needy right now.
No, you're fine. And if you don't want me to bother you, we can have someone
No,
else.
you're fine. Diane said I added the Cardinals calendar, but only got a baseball icon instead of the event. How do I change that? Let's see, a couple things people answered on here. It said it changed to the event when I got out of settings. Preview only gave me an icon. And then somebody said, oh, that's different. How about sharing? I try to share mine with families, but some have trouble. I'm not sure why.
Okay, so settings and sharings. So how did I get here? By clicking on these three dots. So thank you, Emily. I know struggle here with your little ones too, and I appreciate it. If you click on those three dots and go to settings and sharing, so check into here to see. Again, you might have to, if it's on your education account at work, the back end, your Google admin might have set it up where you can't share some of the calendars out. If some people are able to see it and some people aren't though, check to see. So right here, we've made available for the Learning Technology Center. If you want to make available to public, check, click on that, get shareable link. When you get the shareable link, then you can send that to people. to access your calendar. You can add people like you can with other apps out there as well. So you can change your notifications. So again, go into the settings and see if that helps. Again, if you look at that and you still can't figure it out, let us know and we can try to troubleshoot. And or the LTC community. I don't know everything. Hopefully you're finding that out today and you're being nice to me like, oh, she doesn't know that. But this is my way to show you what I do to try to figure things out and learn. I Google it. If I do Google it, I do try to find a video. If I find a video, I try not to have a video more than 3-4 minutes long. And or then I go to the LTC community and I pose the question there. And then other people can answer. I think I've posed a couple questions the last few days, a lot of them around Google. The last one I posed was the about the Google exam, and then it shows that 176 people viewed it. If they knew an answer or something, they could comment here. People could also privately comment. I can comment back. So again, a great place to go and post questions and get help as well. People are very nice about it, and even though someone might have posted another question that was asked maybe a month ago, people don't say, oh, this question was already posted, why are you asking it again? They'll take time and answer it again. So who will answer it? Anybody from the group, kind of like with chat today. People are asking questions and people from the group are stepping up and answering your questions as well. So I appreciate that. So you can become members of any of these groups in here. So
it looks like we have another question.
Yeah.
Kim put, I get the same email from multiple people. Is there a way to set email up to put them together so I don't have to open the same email 4 to 5 times?
Okay, yeah, great question. So with the conversation view, so right now I have that turned off, but do you see like here from Chris Worley, I've got a number 6. So we've emailed back and forth and it stays as 1, it's 6 times. Here, 3, 2, 4. So if there's some people that I'm emailing back and forth a lot, like here's 7, this one's 12 times, it stays it all together, and I don't have to open them up several times. So like with this one with Jesse, there's 23 times we email back and forth based off of that one conversation. I would like to open one up to show you, but I'm not for sure what's all in them, and I don't want any information to show out there if it's I don't want to embarrass anyone if it's anything from the workshop that they were asking and they wouldn't want it to be shown on the screen. So try to see if that helps. And again, how do you do that? Go to the gear and then go to settings. And right here where I've changed the conversation view, I always keep mine on so the emails are grouped together. If I wanted to, I could turn that off. So then I would have several, like for example, from Jesse, we emailed back and forth a total of 23 times, and they're all together. If not, if I took the conversation view off, it would be separate emails, 23 different emails throughout my inbox. So then that would increase my inbox number to 4,000 to 5,000, if not more, depending on how many conversations I have in there. So did that answer that question? All right. All right, so I am way over my time. I apologize, but again, gave people option to go when they needed to go. I appreciate people staying with me if this is what you wanted to learn about. If you...
I have a question.
Yeah, I'll give you guys time to unmute yourself if you want
to
and ask away.
I apologize. Yesterday, I was so busy with so many Zooms, and I forgot to log in and do the evaluation. Yesterday's
from yesterday's
webinar.
session?
Yes, is there a way for me to do it?
Yeah, you can go to the link here from either this slide deck or even from yesterday's, and you can even evaluate yesterday's session as well.
So I just put the different date. Then I'll
Yes.
just change the date.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll be
Yeah.
able to get the slide as well, right? Or I think I did save it actually
Okay.
yesterday.
Yep, you should. If not, when I record or upload this to YouTube later on, because it does take some time to download it and then to upload it. Hopefully by the end of the day, I'll have it there that people can watch, and you can get the bit.ly link from there as well. But if you need me to walk you through how to save it to your drive, I can do that as well too. But no, great question. And you know, this kind of, you know, how you said, I don't know your first name, I apologize here.
I'm sorry, no, I didn't put it, Vivian.
Okay, Vivian. It's just like with anything, now we kind of realize maybe what our students go through, multiple things going on at one time, and are, you know, during the day, and they don't get to everything. So
can I interject there? I haven't been doing the evaluations until I get an email. I get like an email and it'll say you can evaluate, and I find that very helpful. Is that no longer an option?
no, you should still get that too. Sometimes those evaluations I don't see. Those will go to ISB, and that's fine to fill those out. But here, with this evaluation, I can see these real time, and this is how we've kind of changed things. Like I put a printable PDF file in here. I've started to record these, and it's just based off of what people are putting on this evaluation link here on slide 2.
Oh, so these aren't the same evaluations.
No, they're not.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for asking that. Because I know some people had said, well, I put that on the evaluation, but if they put that on the ISB evaluation, I haven't seen any of them, any of the ISB evaluations. So I don't know what they wanted changed or suggested. All I know is what they wanted changed or suggested by this evaluation on D. And that's part of being a Google trainer. Google wants us to upload our, you know, sometimes give them feedback from you guys, how we're doing with our training as well.
Okay.
And Emily, I don't know if you're still on, but if you are, a huge shout out to you for helping moderate the chat and unmuting and letting us know letting me know the questions out there. So I sure appreciate that, and sure appreciate you.
I was gonna say, not a problem. I've been in all yours this week, so I know having that extra person has really helped you out. So
yes, thank you. I appreciate that, and it's helped you guys out too. And again, it's, you know, I've had to change a lot over the course of the last month and a half, just like you have. We're used to doing in-person classroom or workshops, or, you know, being with our students, and it's all changed right now. So feel free, you can either put it in chat, and I can kind of look at chat too if Emily has to go or attend to one of her younger kids there. But you can unmute yourself if there's some questions you want answered. I am going to go ahead and stop recording if that helps anybody, that you might be okay with asking a question then. So